Hi, and welcome back to Perusing the Pages Book Club. We are going to be discussing, as you guessed, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I loved it so much. Me and my husband actually both read it. He has been in the play, and I was shocked to learn that he never read it, even though he was in the play. So I forced him to do it by threat of death and defenestration. No, Pride and Prejudice is one of those classic romance novels that I swear every adult woman loves and fawns over. There are very big opinions on which Pride and Prejudice movie is the better one, the old one or the Keira Knightley one in 2002. I got into Pride and Prejudice because so many people were shocked that I hadn't watched either of the movies, either of the adaptations. And I was like, why would I watch the movie when I can read the book? Duh, because I'm better than everyone. And I sat down to try and read the book, and I couldn't do it. This is written in older English. It moves very quickly, but it was so boring. It was very dull for me. The language and how they spoke, I was a little too young to understand it and to conceptualize it. You can actually see where I left off reading. It was about halfway through the book. But I did end up picking it back up in college, and I finished it, and I remember sitting in my bed in my dorm, and I closed my book, and I was like, this was amazing. How have I spent so long not knowing this? This is beautiful, a masterpiece. And since then, I've read it a handful more times, to the point where my book is actually kind of falling apart, and pages are coming out. So my dear brother was sweet enough to get me a new fancy yellow copy. It is a romance book. It is a Regency novel. It is also considered classic literature. We're going to talk all about it in just a second. Let's get into it. Jane Austen is famous for putting the story's main problem in its title: Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, and Pride and Prejudice. So we're going to talk a little bit about who's prideful, who's prejudiced, what even happens in this book. The main characters of the story are Elizabeth Bennet, Jane Bennet, her older sister, the fanciful Mr. Darcy, Mr. Bingley, the annoying and insufferable little sister Lydia, Mr. Wickham the soldier, and the very good friend Miss Charlotte Lucas. The story follows Elizabeth Bennet, who is a young woman living her life in the English countryside. She is one of 5 daughters to the Bennet family. Her ever-pushy mother is constantly cajoling her 5 daughters into marriage, or attempting to cajole them into marriage. Has not been successful as of yet. However, the eldest Bennet daughter, Jane, who is closest with Elizabeth, seems to be close to marriage to a Mr. Bingley, who is new in the neighborhood, when he suddenly leaves. He disappears, he's gone, doesn't give an explanation as to why. His sister does try and offer a couple explanations to Jane, but in classic catty female fashion, she's being such a cow, and she's like, yeah, we hope he's gonna marry this other girl, because she's better. Over the next couple months, Elizabeth manages to discover how and why Bingley left town. It was at the behest of his good friend, Mr. Darcy, who nobody likes, because Mr. Darcy is very proud, he's very arrogant, and he thinks everybody is beneath him, so he won't speak to anyone in the town. Naturally, of course, Elizabeth figures all this out and goes to bat for Jane, because a good sister would. She confronts Darcy about it, she spreads a couple rumors to a couple different good friends. She hears a lot of rumors about Darcy, how he mistreats people, how snobby he is. They bicker and they awkwardly run into each other a handful of times. He ends up proposing to her. She turns him down. They yell at each other. She calls him awful, throws out some nasty accusations his way, and he leaves her with a letter explaining everything that she threw at him. He explains what happened and why his reputation and his character is always called into question. He explains why he felt like Mr. Bingley should leave Jane. And Elizabeth receives that full truth, and her world is rocked. She's like, oh my gosh, not only am I totally wrong about Darcy, but also he's like an amazing man. He's perfect. Can he come back and propose again, please? He doesn't. Then Elizabeth's younger sister, Lydia, gets into a terrible scandal. She has run off to elope with one of the military guys in town, one of the soldiers, Mr. Wickham, who was originally really good friends with Elizabeth, but then she learned the truth about him, because Wickham and Mr. Darcy have a history. and Mr. Darcy was too kind to go out and explain all the terrible, nasty things that Wickham was doing. So Wickham had full opportunity to use Darcy's silence and turn the situation around on him, smearing Darcy's name rather than his own. And Elizabeth knows this, but she's too late to tell anybody about it, and she thought she was being kind by sparing Wickham the horror. But then he runs off with her little sister, and she's like, well, screw this, we don't like this guy. Somebody's got to go find them, make sure she's okay, that nothing like untoward has happened, and restore some family honor here. It's this whole scandal. It's very, very terrible. Who comes in to save them but Mr. Darcy? Pays off Wickham, because ain't no way he was getting out of there, he had a lot of debts, without getting paid. He pays Wickham, they hastily get married, and Lydia is as insufferable as she ever was. Now she's just married. Now she's Wickham's problem, so suck it, loser. Then Darcy comes back. He brings Mr. Bingley home to the Bennet family, and he's like, Bingley, go propose to Jane. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. Her feelings are there. She's just really shy and reserved. He does. They get engaged. And Elizabeth is like, I'm so happy for Jane, except I'm horrible on the inside. I wish Darcy would propose to me. How could I have been so cruel, so prideful? When super rich, self-important aunt comes along and she's like, Elizabeth, I've heard rumors that you're engaged to Darcy, but Darcy's engaged to my daughter. Blah, 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 blah. You poor people, you can't interfere with our traditions and crap. And Elizabeth's like, I don't care. Get out of my house. She's like, are you gonna deny the rumors that you started, I'm sure? And Elizabeth's like, I didn't start these rumors. Crazy ladies, middle of the night, I wanna go to bed. And I'm never, ever, ever, never, never gonna promise not to be engaged to Mr. Darcy. That sounds like a wonderful time. And she's like, well, bleh, and she leaves. Anyways, Darcy hears this and gets hope, and he comes back and he proposes to Elizabeth. And he's like, girl, I heard what you said about me. You wanna get married? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And then they all live happily ever after. 3 of the 5 sisters are married. 2 of them are married very happily. One of them is still an unsufferable little cow. I understand the hype now. It is so fun. It does have the classic miscommunication trope, but it does it so beautifully. It's not like the modern version where a simple phone call or a text would clear up literally everything. The way it is written, somebody's too proud and somebody's too kind and they don't want to step on toes. It's very British. Like, they don't want to cause a scene, but also they're gonna cause a scene. So good. Loved it. It's mwah, fantastic, beautiful. The reading is a little bit difficult. It's kind of like reading Shakespeare. Not near as bad, let me tell you, but it is written in Old English. This was written in the early 1800s. Technically it's English, but it takes a minute to get through. If you are listening to it, it is a lot easier to digest. But if you are reading it yourself, you do have to slow down a little to really comprehend what they're saying. Originally, this took me months to get through. I wasn't super invested. The writing didn't make a lot of sense to me. It wasn't clear. I was just confused. But when I picked it back up in college, I flew through it in like a month. When I reread it again this year, it took me maybe 2 weeks, reading a couple chapters a day. The chapters are very, very short. I would give Pride and Prejudice 5 out of 5 stars. I think it is a masterclass in writing romance. They don't do anything except talk to each other. They flirt, they banter. I think at the very, very end, they finally kiss. And it's fantastic. It's amazing. The flirting, the banter, it's very British, but it's so good. The tensions between these two, amazing. Overall, I really like Pride and Prejudice. I do recommend it if you want romance. I also recommend boys to read this. That's a hot take. I know a lot of boys aren't gonna read it, but if your girl likes romance, read this book and you will understand why. Take some notes on how to woo your woman. The most obvious question to start us off here is who is prideful and who is prejudiced? Plot twist is everybody. Everybody in this book is prideful, everyone is prejudiced against each other. The countryside are like, oh, the rich snobby people, we don't like them. They're not good enough for our fun times. And then the rich snobby people are like, ew, these people live with cows. And then you have very few characters, i.e. Jane and Bingley, who are in the middle like, oh, he's cute, that's cool. And then Mr. Bingley, who's like, oh my gosh, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. How are you? What's your name? Who are you? What do you like doing? And just completely enraptured with each other. It's so, so cute. But everybody is prideful, everybody is prejudiced. And Darcy and Elizabeth specifically swap throughout the entire book. Originally, Darcy is very, very prideful. He's like, I don't know these people. I'm not going to communicate with any of them. I think my opinion is correct. I'm not going to look into context clues at all. I'm not going to ask around. I know best. My opinion is correct. And then over the course of discovering and getting to know the Bennet family, specifically Elizabeth, he switches from prideful to prejudiced, because now he has feelings for Elizabeth, and he's like, man, she's bewitched me, body and soul. Great line. And I can't stop thinking about her. She's amazing. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever met. She's so talented. I love her. She's so smart and different from every other girl I've met, but she's poor. I can't like her. She's inferior in rank to me. I make $10,000 a year. She makes nothing a year. And he becomes very prejudiced. Whereas Elizabeth is the complete opposite. She is very prejudiced at the beginning of the book against Mr. Darcy. She kind of has reason to be, but they come in and she's like, look at these snobs, look at these losers, think they're better than all of us? Nah, they're just snobby rich people. They'll be gone soon. Good job, Jane, you're doing great. You chat up Mr. Bingley, he's hot, happy for you, but these other fools, get them out, we don't like them. They're not like us in that country. Throughout the book, she flips to the other side where she's just very prideful. She's been listening to Wickham's made-up rumors and stories about Darcy and listening to everybody else's opinion about Darcy and not looking at his actions. And she believes them, and she's like, man, Darcy's so wrong. And I know, because I've heard from all these different people, I am correct. And he's never gonna redeem himself in my eyes. Cut him out forever, never speaking of him again. I won't even mention his name. The next question is, were the Bennet parents good parents? And I don't think either parent was a good parent. I think they were both very vapid and very materialistic. I don't think they were very well suited to each other. How they ended up with two normal kids out of their 5 is beyond me. Elizabeth and Jane, as pointed out by Mr. Darcy, showed the most composure and class and manners of all of their family members, including the parents. I think a lot of it stems from lack of parenting on Mr. Bennet's part. He takes a very offhand approach to his daughters. He doesn't really care about their education. He doesn't really enjoy being around them, talking to them, teaching them. The only one he really favors is Elizabeth, but he doesn't really enjoy the company of any of his daughters. In fact, when Lydia goes off and tries to elope, his response is, well, kind of out of my hands now. Oh no, like, I should have heeded your warning, Elizabeth, that this was a bad idea, but also, like, she's not my problem anymore. And that's not great parenting, I want to point out here. The rest of the family was in shambles. Their honor was ruined. And Mrs. Bennet, you can understand a little bit about how she feels, because she has 5 daughters who she has to get married. They're not going to inherit the house. They're not going to inherit the land or very much money. The only way they're going to make it out of this world is if they marry well. So I understand why she gets very obsessive, but also she's such a bad parent. She allows her daughters to go crazy, to have no social decorum, no class. She allows them to flirt relentlessly with every single person, and they're young. I mean, it was normal to get married and to be out in society young, but it was not normal for the entire family to be out, to all the daughters to be out in society when none of them are married. I think that speaks to Mrs. Bennet's parenting, where she's like, I just gotta get him out. You know, like, let him be free. Quantity over quality. The more guys you chase down, one of them will stick, right? Which is terrible parenting. Also, she encourages Lydia and Kitty to be very frivolous and not very serious. It's really, really sad. And the sadder part is that while Mr. Bennet kind of learns to overcome his failures as a parent, and he does end up being more strict with Kitty and Mary, at least for a little while, Mrs. Bennet never learns. She thinks that Lydia and Wickham are so perfect for each other and they're so well suited and they'll have to visit as often as they can. She does a complete 180. As soon as she finds out that Lydia is found and not in trouble anymore, she's like, great, they can get married. Oh, huzzah, it's amazing. And it's really annoying. She annoys me. I don't like Mrs. Bennet. I would give her a good old talking to if I were her neighbor. All of your daughters are failures, minus the older 2. And the middle one, she's weird. We respect it. But those 2 younger ones, you got problems with those. And it's your fault. You encouraged that. Is Pride and Prejudice accurate to this time frame in history? Yes. This was written close to, or if not exactly when, it would have happened. Being out in society, 1800s. That's what dating was like. That's what country life was like. income, everything. All of it, I think, is very, very accurate. However, I don't think a lot of people understand the nuances to how accurate this is. It was normal for women to get married young at the time, like 15, kind of young. It was normal that love wasn't an option. You base your marriage on compatibility. Yeah, they seem to get along fine, and he makes good money, so it'll be good. Love and beauty was important, but love wasn't super important, as you see with Mr. and Mrs. Bennet. There was no love in their marriage. There was simply tolerance. Also, I think a lot of people have a misconstrued idea of what Regency era is. People really confuse the Regency era with the Victorian era. Those happen like 50 years apart. Who are the antagonists in this story? Meaning, who keeps driving the plot forward? And I think there are a couple different antagonists throughout the story. Number one, biggest op in this book, Lydia. Oh, she bugs me. I didn't grow up with sisters. I don't have any blood sisters. And she would have bugged the crap out of me. I would have smacked this girl around like there was no tomorrow. Why we weren't hitting the people in here? Get the switch out. Bring that back. Lydia needed it. She's the one who drives, I think, the first half of this plot forward. She's the one asking for more balls, wanting to go visit soldiers. She allows Wickham to be entered into the family and get exposed to the Bennets. And she caused a further rift between how Darcy sees the Bennets, especially Elizabeth, and how the Bennets see the hoity-toity rich people. Lydia is really a huge factor in how their social standing and their social graces fall. I think she's one of the main antagonists, one of the main villains. You have to hit the obvious one, Wickham, cowardly, dastardly man. He's out there spreading lies about Mr. Darcy. Not to mention he racks up a lot of debts. He's a gambler and he's not honest. He doesn't have any honor. His social standing really, really falls very, very quickly after marrying Lydia. I think the final villain, who's kind of in a gray area, the final antagonist for this, is Mr. Collins. He means well. All of his intention is in the right place. His heart is true-ish. He's such a stuck-up. Like, he has got such a stick up his butt. First off, he thinks he's very hoity-toity and better than everyone else because he is a member of the clergy, and obviously he knows best. But also, he's such a suck-up to Lady Catherine de Bourgh. People would not be half so snobby and half so self-important if other people didn't think that they were and kind of worship them. And I really think Mr. Collins is to blame for a good chunk of that. Not all of it. Catherine de Bourgh, in and of itself, she's mean. I do think Mr. Collins pushes Catherine de Bourgh to be meaner and to be worse because of how much he fawns over her and just worships her. Also, he's kind of mean to Elizabeth after she rejects him. Naturally, I would too. He marries her best friend Charlotte, and then he's like, oh, don't worry, Elizabeth, you'll find someone of lowly means to marry. And she's like, thanks, Mr. Collins. Appreciate it. He sends a letter to Mr. Bennet when Lydia runs off, and he's like, oh, but don't worry, even though your reputation is now tarnished, I won't kick you out of the house because it's rightfully mine when you die. And it's like, you're not being helpful, Mr. Collins. Shut up. And my last question here is, would this story work if it were written today? Somebody tried to rewrite Pride and Prejudice. If it weren't written before today, I don't think it would work. I don't think people have the patience to do such a slow burn and such a masterclass of a miscommunication trope. We don't have that type of patience anymore. Things are very, very fast-paced and fast-moving. I mean, this book is 300 pages long. So much happens in it, but it is not overburdened. All the plot points join together. They're not going on a random vacation or a random trip that has no meaning besides like interpersonal speculation. No, everything connects to another event that unfolds later in the story. It's beautiful. I don't think a lot of modern authors could do this today. I think it would fall flat. I think it would end up very corny and very cheesy. Jane Austen did a beautiful work here. But those are my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions, my summary, and my questions about Pride and Prejudice. Tell me in the comments, have you read Pride and Prejudice? Did you like it? Who's your favorite character in Pride and Prejudice? Do you agree with me that Lydia is the worst character ever and we hate her? I will never accept her as a true Bennet. Have you seen any of the adaptations or spin-offs from Pride and Prejudice? Which is your favorite version? And of course, who's your favorite man, Bingley or Darcy? Which team are you on? Screw Edward versus Jacob. I don't care about that. That's old news. We're on Bingley versus Darcy. I'm a Bingley fan myself. Like it if you liked the video, send me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you.